Well, what is it you want to ask me?
It seems like you're in your hotel room right now. Did Red Cross help you acquire that?
We are only in this hotel. We didn't even get to pick it, which I'm glad we didn't, because I would have never thought we were good enough to be here. No, that's not what I want to say. What I want to say is, as you can see, there's sleeping grandchildren in hotel beds in a hotel room. This is the nicest hotel in Staten Island, and I don't care if I hurt anybody's feelings at other hotels. These people have put up with us. They have been amazing. We have cried. We've screamed. We try not to do it in front of other people. And to be honest, we've been jackasses when we didn't mean to, because our whole house burned up last Thursday, as you well know. And when Red Cross put us here and paid for us a room a couple nights, and then we used what little they gave us to replace some of our stuff on a little gift card, we spent enough to buy 2 more nights. My son bought us 1 night so that we'll be able to be here a little bit longer than Red Cross could pay for. So now we're sitting here. There's the grandchildren. There's Jasmine and Alia in one bed, and then in the other bed is Amanda and baby Eric. And then here standing with me doing this is Kasha. She's going to help me do it. And I'm CricketDiane. So we're the 6 people in our household. Our whole burnt out mess house is going to be starting to be demolished tomorrow. So what else did you want me to talk to you about?
So you say there's a fire. Do you know what started the fire, and how do you feel about that?
The little boys that had been playing with matches that the fire marshal says started the fire next door to us in that house, which quickly caught both houses on fire. They were flipping matches, and then they were on fire, and they would throw them on the porch upstairs or somewhere. That's supposedly what started the fire. Those were the same little kids that had been in my house earlier, just the same day. I mean, real 30 minutes before that. Playing with Legos, making music on a little keyboard, playing Hot Wheels cards, and we built a track thing, making their own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on toasted bread, and having a really, really good time playing with my grandchildren. And I noticed that they had a little bit of trouble staying focused to begin with, but they actually built something with the Legos, and they did make some music that was really, really pretty and structured and fun, and they seemed to enjoy themselves. We had lots of toys and stuff for the girls. But the Legos, they're my toys, and I shared them with them, which kind of bothers me. They're gone now because we can't play with them. And they are one of the tools that help me to compensate and do better after I had a head injury. It helps me think. It helps me develop skills. Also helps with fine motor coordination, just to put it together and then sorting it apart when it's done. Anyway, those same little boys, I've seen them since when we were all sent to HPD yesterday, which is the Housing Preservation Development place, which if people don't know, New York City sends their domestic violence mothers and children, as per usually, in particular, to HPD, and also flood and fire victims and their families to that place. And they all go down there, are told to be there at 9 a.m., like we were yesterday, but we didn't get there at 9 a.m. because we're just a little logistically challenged right now. We had told them that, and it didn't matter. We were supposed to be there at 9 a.m. to get any of the good services. They told my daughter that. They had both my daughters so worked up that the only way we could actually get permanent housing, like Red Cross told us we would get from HPD, was to get there at 9 a.m. Fortunately, reality got in the way, and we got there about 1:30 or 1 or 12 or something. And an hour later, all our neighbors showed up. We were all in a room, only slightly bigger than the one the hotel has us in right now. I don't think there were 30 people in there, but you put 5 children in a room, and it sounds like 30 plus some elephants. And that's what we had. Except I'd say there were more than 5 children in that room and a number of adults, because every member of every family affected by that fire that had no home to go to had to go to HPD, promised by Senator Watson and just one of the other families on the phone, and by Red Cross and some of the advocates at Al Sharpton's, Reverend Al's Action Network had led everyone to believe that Red Cross was going to pay for a few more days at the hotels so we would have an easier transition. I have a lot of difficulty with it, with head injury and post-traumatic stress disorder from domestic violence, so I don't deal with stress anyway worth a hoot. And so they said they were assuring us that we would get to HPD. They would expedite these families, and had been told to. They would get us permanent housing and not temporary. And what happened was we got there late in the afternoon for us, which was about 12 or 1 when we could, and everybody else got there about an hour later. And they didn't see us in the order we came in. They took our papers, didn't tell us what was going on. They had all of us sit there. Well, what was it, Kasha? 4, 5, 6 hours.
We didn't leave. We got there at about 1. We didn't leave until about 4:35.
Well, you probably couldn't have heard her say that for your life, but she said we got there at 1, and I'm pretty sure there's an Action News story that can timestamp when I walked out of the building, because I went over to them and talked to them on the television. I didn't want to, but somebody had to. Because what they told us at HPD after all that is I would have to prove my disability, even though I have SSI for my disability, which is pretty good proof after everything they put me through to get it. And then the worker at HPD, not the news crew, didn't mean to mess that up. The HPD worker told us that our only option, and told this to the other families too, was to go in temporary housing at a shelter.
No, a family
A
center.
family center is what it's called. It is a shelter. It is temporary. It's not intended to be permanent housing. And he said, in fact, they had no intention of doing anything else. Whether I had proof, which I would have to have, that I had a disability or not. They couldn't make a reasonable accommodation because I don't think they knew what one was. Now, I know they do, but apparently my idea of what that is and theirs are extremely different. I think a reasonable accommodation would be that I could spend a couple more days over at the hotel, and so we went ahead and used a little bit of resources we had from Red Cross to buy underwear and panties, and some people helped by donating some things like that. And my son jumped in from Georgia, came up and helped a little because he was financially able to do so. He helped a little. We didn't expect it. It happened. So we were able to turn around and spend money we really didn't have, Red Cross gave us, to stay a couple more nights. Because I just had my house burned down. Every compensating tool and strategy that I knew how to do to help me overcome my tendency to panic when there's stress. And then after I panic because there's stress, I get less and less able to know anything, and slower and slower and slower. And after a while, only half of my face boils like that. And that's happening even now, and I mimicked it sort of for you. I didn't have to work hard because I'm already seeing that in the mirror, and so is my family some of the time. Because I don't have my tools, they got burned up. I don't have my notes to tell me what my tools were. I know I did some that came out of Taekwondo, some that came out of a stroke therapy somebody's cousin had that told me about. Some came from books I read, online research I did, books that came from Emory that were brought over to my library in West Georgia for me on neurology and neuro rehab and things that I could help myself with. Some from brain injury support group members and their caregivers, all kind of places. And the fact is, Right now, my family's helping make up some difference to help me get around to get this ID, get that ID, show us this, show us that, prove you were in a fire. And today at NYCHA, yesterday at HPD, they said they couldn't help except stick us in a shelter that night, yesterday. I can't do that and then end up so retarded and drooling and developmentally disabled that you'll definitely know I have a head injury then, and you'll definitely know that I have PTSD then, because I'll be freaking out that I can't say my name and don't care that I don't know it anymore. I won't be wiping my ass with these two hands because I won't be able to find it. So today we went to NYCHA thinking I have a Section 8 voucher and they'll just expedite it and give me a copy to go forward and find another place, transfer it over since the place burned down. I'm legally responsible to tell them it burnt down. I can't live in it, and I'm not living in it today because it burned down. I did that, and they told me I had to wait for an inspector from NYCHA to schedule a time to come out and prove it could not have a livable space for me before they could give me the right to transfer my voucher to a place where I can live. They did not answer the question, but I have to know the answer. Can they accept the fire incident report signed by the fire marshal that says it is uninhabitable as the inspection? I haven't gotten that answer yet. They said they had to do an inspection. I'm going to stop now. I don't know if you have any more questions. You let me know.